Yo, what is going on? It is James, aka The Comic Raider, and I am back with another movie review. Just got out of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. It is late. It is 2 a.m. But I'm here. We're gonna make this video because I want to talk about it. So, again, I say this for all my reviews, but if you've never been here before, welcome. And we're gonna do non-spoiler, then spoiler after. So, non-spoiler, I think it's a good movie. I did enjoy it. It's not my favorite of the franchise, but it's enjoyable. I would highly recommend watching it in theaters. That's something I always do like to mention, is whether it's theater worthy or not. I mean, Mission Impossibles are always great for the theater. Tom Cruise movies are always great for the theater. And this one was no exception. I saw it in IMAX. I do think that is definitely worth it. It is. There are definitely a lot of scenes that benefit from the IMAX. There's even a scene that really incorporates IMAX, that they kind of almost they mess with the screen, and it's in the movie. That probably doesn't make sense unless you've seen it, but something happens on the screen and the screen gets bigger and it turns into IMAX, and it's like really cool how they do that. So, and plus, with IMAX you also get the great sound, which is really good because it definitely enhances some of the action sequences that are in the movie. And so yeah, definitely a movie theater watch. IMAX if you can, it's worth it. Now, I guess, continuing on with non-spoiler, if you've never seen any of the Mission Impossibles, I do think you can jump in. Not necessarily to say that I would recommend that. I think that you will have missed a lot of cool story and a lot of, most importantly, a lot of great action sequences. But with that said, this movie does do a good job of having its own story that is continuing and does play off of the previous movies, but without it being to where if you were just jumping in, you are just so completely lost. Like, I do feel they did a decent job with self-containing that, and they also recap a lot. So I think in that case, you'll be fine just jumping in, because the movie's going to recap a lot of important stuff for you. But with that said, again, this is, I don't even know how many they've made, but a lot, right? And then this is also a direct sequel to the previous, so it would help. It's not going to be the best story you've ever seen, any of that kind of stuff. This is going to be, you want a great popcorn movie, and you want to see some awesome cinematography and action stunts. That's what I'd say these are known for, and that is what you're going in for. And so for that reason, it's definitely worth the watch. I mean, I don't know what else I can really say non-spoiler wise, because it's kind of just how this movie is. It's its own thing. It's just an action movie, right? So there's things that are at stake. The world is at stake. There's gonna be some crazy action sequences for the good guy to go up against the bad guy and save the world, and that's what you're gonna get. But it is really good. I would definitely check it out, for sure. Now I guess I'll just we can just get right into spoilers from there. I know I didn't give you much for the non-spoiler, but like I said, it is a 3-hour movie. I'll mention that off the bat. It feels like 3 hours. It is a long movie. It does feel like 3 hours, but I didn't feel like it was a chore to watch at the same time. So I think that was pretty good as well. And there's some good moments to go and take a bathroom break if you need to. There's about halfway through, there's a very long, tension-driven action sequence. Well, stunt sequence. Yeah, I guess I would say stunt sequence, because when I say action, that would imply to me like fighting. There's one of those halfway through too, but I would say wait for the stunt sequence that follows, and if you can make it that far, that would be a good. Right when that ends is a good time to use the restroom. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, 3 hour movie. It's long. It's long, but it's good. And so yeah, I guess that's all for non-spoilers. So for those of you who are making it this far, I thank you. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And now we'll get into spoilers. So we'll start with the story. Again, self-contained in the sense that I do not think that it is vital you watch the previous. I think that they do a good job of that. There is a ton of recap, and this is where I kind of feel both ways on this. With the recap, it's like it benefits those who have never seen them, right? But at the same time, it adds, there's a lot of recap, and there's a lot of flashback sequences, and I feel like it just adds to this runtime that's already very long. And you pair that with the sequences of the plan being explained, which happens multiple times in multiple scenes with multiple people to multiple people, and it's like between the plan and the flashbacks, I mean, that's got to be like 30 minutes of the movie, 40 minutes of the movie right there, I feel like. So it does feel like a little bit much there, but you know, it is what it is. So as for the story, you know, I it's a continuation from the previous one. To my knowledge, this was supposed to be a 3-parter that is now just the 2 parts, and that's why I went from what the previous was Dead Reckoning, and this one just jumped to the Final Reckoning. So I think that you know, is part of the runtime, part of the story. You know, why it is the way it is because it was probably the 2 movies combined into one. You know, I think there's good and bad to that, and so that's where it's like, this is not my favorite one, but it's still good. But like, the story is very simple, right? You just have this AI that's gonna take over the world, and it's gonna destroy the world, and it is learning, and there's only one man capable of stopping it, which is Ethan Hunt, of course. And he's gonna have this impossible mission that only he can do in order to save the world. At the same time, there is a villain in the movie who is trying to stop him. And the villain Gabriel wants to control the AI, what they call it, the entity. He wants to control the entity, as to where Ethan Hunt's character wants to stop it and destroy it because it is too much power for any person to have. But of course, you know, you have the trope, right, of impending doom to the world and nuclear bombs and missiles and codes and all that kind of stuff. And so you have the typical story of all the countries panicking and who's doing this, and you know, we have to strike before someone else strikes. And you know, you see that in a lot of movies anytime the nuclear stuff is involved. But I thought that it was very unique perspective to give us not just Ethan Hunt's perspective and his team and everything that they're going through, but a lot of scenes of the president and what she's going through in trying to give Ethan the time to complete his mission. But then at the same time, you have got, literally, you are on the brink of World War III, and you have got all these other people, the Secretary of Defense and the General, and all these people who are yelling at you their opinion of what you should do. And that includes bombing the world because you're afraid that they're going to bomb you, and you can't let that happen. But you also can't let the AI take over. And it just, like, it was very tension driven. I would say the movie boils down to a lot of tension. And so I thought that was interesting. Again, that does add to the 3-hour runtime. There's probably another 20-30 minutes of the president's side of the story, which is fine. Again, I think that they handle it well. It was also funny seeing, like, there's so many characters that are played by actors that you've seen in so much other stuff. You're just like, oh, that's that person. That's the person from this. There's two people from Maverick in this movie, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, there's two people from that. There, it's just you got Marvel. You know, you got two people for two, maybe more, but two for sure from Marvel, and it's just like all these famous actors that are in this, right? It's funny to see. But anyways, so you have that perspective going. Meanwhile, you have Ethan and his team having to save the world, and you've got Ethan with this key that is the key to destroying the AI. Well, he needs the key to access where the codes, the source code for the AI is, but then he also needs this flash drive that was done by Ving Rhames' character, Luther, but then that gets stolen by Gabriel, so now you have, you know, there's two vital components to stopping this thing. Well, stopping or controlling it, and the two characters each have a piece of that, and of course their paths are gonna meet, and that's basically right. That's the story, yeah. And so, but it's still good. I mean, it just, and I'm not saying great, you know, it's just good, right? And you know, it takes a long time to get there, but it eventually gets there, and there's a lot of cool sequences in between, which I'll save for the action talk at the end here. But I mean, that's basically the story, right? But it, you know, world ending, and then it ends on, again, we're doing spoilers, so it ends on this happy note. And the way that it ends, I think, is where it can go two ways. It can end with the team is saying their goodbye, right? They're all looking at each other. They're, you know, hey, we made it through here, and we're saying goodbye. You also notice, pay attention to the fact that they're in this crowd, and the crowd is just going about their day, meaning the world is fine. The world is fine. The world has been saved. Everyone's gone about their business, and now this group can choose to go about their business, and you end it. Or you can continue it, because the movie's always, well, some of them end with, you know, the world was saved and everybody goes about their business, but yet something brings them back together. So it can go both ways, honestly. And I guess that's really it that I'll say for story. Let's go ahead and jump into characters. I think that I would say there's not much here, right? These are characters that this is where it would help to watch the previous, because all these characters are from previous ones, right? There's a couple new introductions, but there's introductions of characters that were in the previous movie. There's characters who have been there from the beginning, and then there are characters who were now tied into the beginning. You know, you have the cop that's going after him and learning that his dad is John Voight's character in the first one. Then you got the agent, the government agent who created the code that he steals in the first one, like all that kind of stuff. That's where it's cool. But again, they literally explain all that with flashbacks, so you would not have to watch the movie to understand what's going on there. They explain it to you. So, you know, it just kind of helps though. And, you know, you get the emotional attachment to the characters, so when they do cool stuff or when their lives are in danger, it means a little more. I will say, I kind of, you know, I'm not saying I'm not to be a negative person, but I don't really know how I feel about the team really getting through with minimal casualties for the finale. You know, yes, you lose one, which is a very big deal, but you only lost one. You know, like you just kind of thought you'd lose a couple more people, but that's just me. I don't think that that's just me, but you know. With that said, again, the characters are just the characters, right? They're all just reacting to the plan and what we have to do, and oh my god, this is crazy, but oh my god, the world is ending, so we have to do this, and we're badasses, and you know, that's where it's like these characters aren't the most craziest that you'll ever see or iconic other than Ethan Hunt, really, but they're still good. All the actors did a great job, but that's it, right? So let's go ahead and just, man, action and cinematography. The action sequences were really good. I think that I'm gonna separate this with like action and stunts, right? Action for fighting. There was not, for being a 3 hour movie, there really was only like two real fight scenes, right? When they get um, Palm, Palm's character from jail. There's the quick fight there, and then you do have a really good fight, a duel fight. Ethan Hunt on the subway, and then the rest of the group in the house of the agent against the Russian soldiers. Like, that is a really good sequence, right? Two great fights. Ethan versus that guy in the submarine is really, really good. Very tense. I mean, that is tense, and the tension that they build up through so many scenes in this movie, I thought that was really well done. You are on the edge of your seat, right? That's great. That is what we love for these movies. And so I thought that that was like a really good fight scene. And then I really did enjoy the one that was going on inside the house. Because you've got the combination of the fighting with the shooting, the wrestling, and then it's like multiple fights going on at the same time in this house. Meanwhile, the guy's trying to, send off the codes. Like, that was all really good. I gotta go back to characters real quick. Character and story. When he gets to the submarine, that actor definitely steals the show, right? Oh gosh, I forgot. I don't remember the character's name, but the captain of that submarine, dude, he was awesome. If you want to poke the bear, you came to the right guy. And like, he was just so freaking cool. He was so cool, so great. Great lines, great delivery, great acting. That was awesome. That was awesome. So yeah. So anyways, then they're fighting on his submarine and all that good stuff. But yeah. So then, like, as far as the action parts go, I would say not as many fight sequences, and so I think that's another thing that maybe is bringing the reviews down for some people on this one, because it's a 3 hour movie and you really only have two fight sequences, and the one in jail is very quick. And I could be forgetting another one, but I really don't think so. I mean, you have the one where he saves Grace in the beginning, but that's off camera, right? Like, you see a little bit of it, and then he goes crazy, and you're just getting her reaction, right? They're not trying to make it a crazy John Wick brutal movie. So I get that, but that means that a great fight happened off camera, so you really only get not as much on camera, but that's okay. But I think that's why it contributes to the movie just being good. Now let's get into stunts. I cannot wait to watch the behind the scenes, because how he continues to do this stuff is just insane to me. Obviously, we'll talk about the big one, which is the end with the whole planes. I gotta know. I mean, I'm assuming it's all him, but damn. I mean, this plane is flipping upside down. It's twisting. It's turning. It's barrel rolling, and you're telling me that he's hanging off this thing, and he's going from, holding on to the different bar. I don't know old airplane. I don't know any airplane really, but so I don't know what they're called. But the different bars that he's grabbing onto, as he's flying, as he's rolling around on this wing, and just insane, man. Going from this multiple seats, having to climb onto the seats, especially once he gets to Gabriel's plane and Gabriel's trying to shake him off, and there's like the moments where he's using the plane and gravity to kind of hold himself to the plane. There's the one where he's like sitting and straddling, and he just kind of like sits up on the edge of the plane for a while. Like, it's just crazy. And then how they film all the ocean sequences, I also really want to know, because, like, I mean, even the drowning scene, but not only the drowning scene, but like how him jumping into the ocean first of all, and then diving down, swimming back up. Like, I can't wait to see the behind the scenes on all that stuff. It's incredible. Which brings me to the cinematography. This is why I really recommend it in IMAX, because there are so many great shots throughout the movie. The whole plane sequence is really great to watch. But honestly, the highlight of the movie for me, for sure, is the submarine scene. As much as I love the finale on the plane, that submarine scene is just beautiful. And earlier I mentioned the whole playing with the IMAX. There's a scene in which he's in the submarine and he turns this wheel and the screen starts to enlarge, and then he turns it again and it enlarges again, putting it into full IMAX. And that was just a really cool, subtle thing to do, but it was awesome. I was awesome, geeked out at that. Buddy of mine caught that as well. Like, it was really cool. And then the whole sequence, I mean, of course anything that can go wrong does go wrong for this team and their mission, but going from he's underwater to half in water to no water, and then water filling up at various times, and him getting locked out. And it was simple stuff like him opening the one door, and they're showing you from the other side of the door, like he's walking towards you. And normally you could just open the door and you've got a little bit of water at the bottom, but no, they're wanting to show you that the submarine is tilted, and so the water is like diagonal across the screen. And it's like little stuff like that was just so cool. And then as it starts to roll off the hill, the underwater hill, the water then goes up on the side, and now he's like hanging upside down. He's not really hanging upside down because he's using his weight on the rails, but like he's upside down but facing you, but you know that obviously is not the ground because the ground is this way. Like, just, it was awesome. It is a beautifully shot sequence. And even him drowning and then him going to the surface, and they rotate the camera to the like, and he's laying down but he's not really laying down. It's great. It is great. I love the it's dark obviously in this submarine, but yet they didn't make it so dark that you can't see anything. Like, you can beautifully see everything. The scene is beautiful. And then the tricks that they use, the way they film it, it's so much tension. This thing is rolling off the hill slowly, and then it really just starts rolling off the hill, and it's impending doom, and he's got to get out of there, but then he's getting blocked. You got missiles dropping everywhere, and it just, man, it is great. Now, that does then bring me to a gripe I will have. I will mention a negative to the movie, is you have this whole scene in the while he's on the U.S. submarine, where they're like making a big deal of this suit, right? And so you're gonna be so far down, you've got all this pressure, you're gonna die. You need to be decompressed in a decompressing chamber as soon as you get to the surface. And if you are not in this suit, like, you need to make sure that you exhale so your lungs don't explode, like all this shit. For him to have to squeeze through the tunnel, so he takes all that off. First of all, it's also freezing cold. Okay? So freezing cold and pressure. And you're telling me that he just takes the suit off and is able to damn near swim to the surface. I understand that he drowns. He didn't technically make it to the surface, but he was damn close enough to where his ass floated to the surface still. And it's like, there's no way in hell. No way in hell that you don't freeze immediately in that water. And number two, what's the whole point of this crazy advanced suit if he can just totally take it off and have completely made it to the surface with no concerns for pressure? Because not only was he so far down that it was so dangerous, he went further down because the submarine fell and it dragged his ass with him. So he's falling even further, which is still a great scene, by the way, and filmed amazing. But it's just like, that's where you have to suspend your belief because not a chance in hell that a person survives that with no freaking suit on. It was it was just a silly part that I'm not gonna say it ruins what had been a amazing scene prior, but it definitely is like, come on, man, come on. But I get it. It's a movie. You got Hollywood magic in play, but regardless, like that is my favorite scene of the movie, hands down. It is incredible. Um, but yeah, again, I guess we'll wrap it up there. Really good movie. Not great, not the greatest movie you'll see this year. It's not even the greatest of its own franchise, but still good. I would still recommend you see it in theaters. A, to support cinema. B, to support these type of movies. I mean, I don't have much time here, but man, when Tom Cruise is done, like that's the last action hero, quote quote. Um, what he brings to the camera, to cinema, with the stunts, the dedication, the passion to do it all, um, is just incredible, man. It is incredible, and it is going to be really sad when he's not making these movies anymore, because nobody else is really making them like this. I mean, I will give credit where it's due. Shout out Keanu Reeves. I mean, he's definitely doing it, and I understand. Look, that you can bring up foreign films and probably foreign actors that maybe are. I'm not familiar with it, so I do apologize for my ignorance there, but it's like these movies and the way that it's filmed and again going back to the cinematography and the amount of realism in the stunts is just gonna be missed unless someone else takes up that mantle to become that action stunt star. But yeah, I'll go ahead and just end it there. But check out the movie. Let me know your thoughts below. Till next time, I am out. It is the Comic Raider James signing out. Make sure again you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you thought of my review. Let me know what you thought of the movie. Until next time, man, I am out. Deuces.